for my tie back scoop neck top. So this is the perfect project if you are a beginner sewer, because it's really quick to come together. It doesn't require any special fastenings. It doesn't require an overlocker, and yeah, it's just pretty simple and straightforward. So before you're ready to start this sewing tutorial, you need to make sure that you've downloaded the information pack, which is in the downloadable files. And that will explain everything that you need to know to get to this point that I'm at now, and that is with all your pieces cut and ready to sew. So once you've worked through that, it will also tell you how to print your pages and how to assemble them together, the layout on your fabric, and then recommended fabrics, and it also has a size chart so you can find your size. Yeah, so once you've worked through that, then you'll have all your pieces cut like I do now. So your pieces will include 2 long straps and then 4 shorter straps, and then 2 front pieces. And I'm going to do mine in contrasting colours because this top can be worn reversible. So if you do 2 contrasting colours, then you basically get 2 tops in one, because you can turn it around and then have 2 colour options. So once you've got all them bits cut, then the only other bits that you will need for this tutorial are a sewing machine, and then either one of these, oh no you won't actually, sorry. All you need is some pins and some pins, some scissors, and your sewing machine. So the first thing that I'm going to do is sew my darts into my 2 front pieces. So I've transferred my dart markings onto my piece here now with some pins, and then at the side seam you will find 2 notches. So this indicates where the dart starts and finishes, and then this is the dart head here. So all I'm going to do is, with the right sides of the fabric facing, so this is my wrong side facing me, and then this is my right side facing down. I'm going to make sure that I pin them with the right sides of the fabric facing, and I'm just going to line up the notches and then pin to this pin head here. And then once I've got them pinned in place, then I will stitch them. And then repeat for both layers. And now with your iron, you can press your seams, and I would recommend pressing the excess towards the, like, downwards. And then next up, we're going to work on your straps. So with each strap, what we're going to do is we're going to turn one of the short ends in 0.5 centimeters and press. And then along each long edge also we'll turn in 0.5 and press. And then once both edges and then one short edge is turned in, then we're just going to fold the whole thing in half so that all the raw edges are concealed, and then give it a press down the center. And then repeat for all 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of your straps, the 4 shorter ones and then the 2 longer ones. And now with each one of your straps that you've just ironed, you can top stitch the open edges, so the short edge and then the long edge. So now we have the following pieces all ready to construct together. So you've got a front piece, 2 layers, with your darts sewn, and then you've got your 6 straps. So first what we're going to do is find your 2 long straps, and then on the raw ends of the 2 long length ones, we're just going to cut off 6 centimeters from the raw end. So this end is your closed end, and then this end is your raw end. So I'm just going to measure 6 centimeters on each one, and I'm going to, sorry, I'm not very good at keeping it on the camera there. I'm going to measure 6 centimeters, and I'm going to cut that off the end of each one to give me one shorter piece, like so. Okay, so with these two longer ones, what we're going to do now is pin our straps onto our front piece. So for the time being, I'm going to move one front piece out of the way. So starting with just one layer, the first straps that we're going to pin are your big long straps that you've just cut the little short bit off the end. So make sure that you are attaching the end that is raw, that's unfinished. And this strap is going to go here just at 1 centimeter from the armhole edge. So I'll pin that in place. And then repeat for the other side. And then next we're going to take these little loops, the little short straps that you just cut off, and we're going to turn them into loops. So I'm going to fold it in half, and then these are going to go at your first notch just underneath your armhole. So make sure that you are catching both sides in, so you've created a little loop there. And then with your 4 short straps here, these are going to go at your remaining notches. You'll have one notch a little bit further down from the dart, and then one notch just a little bit below your waist. So pin them in place, and then repeat for the other side again. So folding this loop in half. Okay, so once you've got all them straps pinned in place, we're just going to keep all of these straps in the center. Make sure none of the edges are, like the edges of the strap are going outside of this area, because then we're going to take our other piece, and I'm just going to make sure that all the darts have their threads cut off. And then with the right side facing down, we're going to pin it on top of the other layer and just pin it around the whole edge. So you can match up the shoulder points, the underarm points. The darts. Okay, next we're going to stitch around the entire edge of the top, but when we come to this bottom edge, we're going to leave a small gap in the stitching around 10 centimeters. So we can stop the stitch, and get that in the camera, stop the stitch. It can be any point on this lower edge, and then we will restart a stitch, and that is going to be the point where we turn the whole top through so that it's the right way around. So now with a 1 centimeter seam allowance, I'm going to stitch around the entire edge of the top, just leaving that small gap in the hem. At this point here where you've reached the armhole, just go over the loop and make sure that you are past the loop, and then you can keep your needle down, lift your foot up, and then pivot your... And then the same at this shoulder point here with the strap. So here I'm going to stop my stitching. I've just done a back stitch. I'm going to stop here and then start a little bit further on. So I said about 10 centimeters should give you enough space to be able to turn it through. Okay, so once we've done all of the edge stitching and all of your straps are tucked inside, we're now going to trim some corners and trim some of the curves. So first, at these corners here at the hem, I'm just going to cut the corners off just to remove some of the excess, and repeat for both sides. And that will help you have a sharper corner. And then also along any point that has a curved, like the side seam, for example, the armhole and the neckline, we're just going to go along, and every now and again we're going to cut a notch into the seam allowance. So this is just a little cut that goes kind of close to the stitch line without actually cutting through it, and we'll just cut them all along the curved edges, and this will just help them sit nice and neatly when you turn it through. So your edges will start to look like this. So any part that has a more extreme curve, like this armhole for example, you need slightly more. And then the last few areas that I'm going to cut as also the corners here of the armhole, and then the shoulder point here. Just cut them corners off so it's not bulky when you turn it through. Okay, You're now ready to turn this through. So at your hem here where you left your hole, we're just gonna pull it all through, and then magically your top will be revealed. And you can use the straps to help you pull all your corners out. And then with these corners here, you can use something sharp, so I'll just use my, well, maybe I won't use them, that's not very sensible. I'm gonna use my loop turner to press these corners out to a nice sharp point, so you can use anything that is long, like a pen. And now I'm gonna take this to my iron and give it all a good iron. So now I'm going to go along this edge and iron it all out neatly, and then when it comes to this point here where you left the gap, we're just going to fold it in as if it's the same as the rest, as if it is stitched, and then we're going to add a real neat kind of little top stitch to keep it in place. So I'll press one side at a time to make it easier. So the very final step is just to close this gap in your hem here. So I've pinned mine together, and with my machine I'm just very, very carefully going to add a stitch right next to the edge. You can also do this by hand if you prefer, but yeah, I'm just going to do mine with my machine. So really, really carefully right on the edge there. If you've used two contrasting colours for your inside and your outside, then you'll just need to make sure that your top threads and your bottom threads are different colours if you're doing it with your machine. And then we are complete.